Trading friends, how you doing? Tom Willard with Tom Willard Trading. Welcome to another video, man. I'm excited. We got a lot of great ideas. I just got done scanning for the weekend, and of course some carryover ideas I'll talk about from the previous videos. Things are working well. We're continuing to go higher. Again, exercise caution, but the flow of the river is in the long direction, so stay long more than you're short. Now, I've been shorting issues that come up, things that are relatively weak, things that get stupid extended to the top side with climactic volume, and you can make a great income from doing that as well, but you got to know what you're doing. A little bit more risky to go against the flow of the river. So what I would say is, depending on your development level, if you're new to this or if you're just learning and you're trading for the longer term, stay on the long side for now, right? But have stops, know where to take profits, take some off the table. Typically with my longs that are ripping here, I'm only taking partial profits on extensions to the top side, then adding them back. So I'll talk about Peloton, which is one I've been doing that to. It's been a fantastic run, and a few others. So let's get to it. First up, as customary, I show the major indices. This is the SPY, S&P 500 ETF. You'll see here on the weekly chart on the top right, we had the big fall off, and then we've come back. We consolidated, put in a flag type setup here on the weekly, and then we've just gone higher. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days up here in a row off this gap down on whatever day this was. August, looks like about August 20th-ish. Anyway, we're straight up, and again, initiating new long positions on this is not advised because, again, you're too extended. But there are issues that are looking to turn and go higher. I'm going to share a bunch that I'm looking for swing long opportunities in the next week or two. But right now we're extended up. We're extended up on the weekly. We're extended up on the daily. But we are in a clear void above, so there's nothing really stopping us resistance-wise from this thing continuing to go higher. Much like our friend, the QQQ, which you see when it broke resistance here, it's pretty much had a clear flow other than these 2 weeks here where we consolidated right here and have gone back higher. And again, we're up, good Lord, same 6-day type situation here on the QQQ. So again, extended on these major ETFs, but again, that's just indicating the river is flowing to the long direction. You want to stay long and look for long opportunities. But keep in mind, when this falls apart, if this falls apart, it could be violent. And I can see a lot of people holding the bag in disbelief because it's been such a long party here to the top side that as things start to roll over, it'll catch people by surprise. In fact, they'll start buying like crazy. So just be aware of that. I'll also talk about the VXX here today too. But let's talk about a couple positions we've had opened for a while. I've talked about Peloton. This thing has been an amazing run. It just broke out to even newer highs here this Friday, a couple days ago, last trading day actually, since it is Sunday. And it looks higher. Again, there's no reason to get out of this thing. Continue to hold it. I bought more. I sold it into this initial run here, bought it back, sold it again, bought it back, and right now I'm holding all of it for a continued move higher. How high could this go? Sky's the limit. 100, 1,000. I mean, look at Tesla and Amazon. I wouldn't expect this to happen with this thing right now, but right now it looks great. There's no reason to get out. You can actually, if you want, move your collective stop underneath this weekly pivot point here at around 63-ish a share right here where my arrow's pointing on the daily chart on the upper left. Or if you want over here at 65, but this thing looks like it wants to go higher. I wouldn't be buying it up here. I bought it back in this area, in the $65 area. I bought back the shares I sold as it started to kind of balance out. As it pulled back here, it kind of started to show support. And again, you got a green candle and a gap up here, and it held, made a higher low. Buy point right there. Wandered around here a little bit. Then the last 4 days been straight up, looks higher. So Peloton's been a great trade. I know a lot of you guys have been emailing with me, got on this with me way back here in the 30s or in the 40s as well, as you could have gotten in there too. And I bought more in that area there. And again, it's the same concept I talked about in previous videos. As things get extended, they really move, sell into that strength, and then buy it back. I just exited my position on DHI last week off this run. Here's a perfect example. I sold out at 75.50, I think, a share on my position that I originally bought back here off this flag at around $55 a share, right here, 55. Rode it all the way up, got out. So I'm completely flat on this thing now, and it's pulling back. And I'm looking to buy this back. I really here, your minor support area is around 62. That's a hell of a pullback here, about $60 a share. But I'm looking for maybe more of a pullback here into the high 60s. Once it gets in there and it sets up a green candle, it sets up one of those pullback setups. If you go to my technical analysis series on pullbacks, you look for a candle formation where you've got a changing, you got a bunch of red bars, you got like bottoming tails, green bars, where it looks like momentum to the downside is settling in. Plus, you got the rising moving average here is kissing off that right now as well. So I'm looking for a little bit of a deeper pullback, and I'll look to initiate a new position in DHI. But again, sold into it nicely, and again, I'm flat on this one. The other ones that are moving in this group that I've been actually trading, Toll Brothers here, same thing, pulling back. Pulte Homes, PHM. Or you can go with the ETF, XHB, which is actually holding up better than those three I just showed you. So those are having more pullback. So this one here is another one you can watch. Support areas at $50 a share. So watch this for a pullback, maybe under this pivot at 52. And I'm interested in watching to buy this as a swing long as well. Now let's go to a couple cheaper stocks that I've been trading and sharing with you guys. I know some of you all that are following me, watching these videos, you may not have the capital to buy a Tesla or an Apple or some of those more expensive stocks, or a QQQ or a SPY. These smaller dollar ones this is why I share this for you, for those of you guys that don't have as much and want to get more in the game. Wrap Technologies here, I'm completely flat on this thing at this point. Wrote it up, sold into it, and then watching this pullback here, you got a green candle engulfing this previous weekly candle here. It looks like we got a change in the winds. It looks like we're going to start going back up higher here. So watching to buy this above the top of this topping tail here, about $9.40 or so, with a stop under the low about $7. So about a $2 stop, and you're looking for a run back up to near these highs. Okay, around $14 a share for your initial target. You may get some resistance here at 11, but I'm watching this to trade as a swing long idea. Wrap Technologies. Genesis, those of you guys have been following me on this one as well. I even have, here's the line I had from, I believe, my last video a couple weeks ago where I talked about this as a buy. I think I reported earnings, and you get the crossover of the moving average here. It's definitely starting a new uptrend, or it appears to be. I guess anything can happen, and hence why I was such a strong buyer here in the $4.20 range. So far, made a good Lord, 25% on this thing in a couple weeks. But I'm holding. I'm looking to ride this thing up to 6, and at around 6, the high fives, $6 a share. I'll sell part of my position, but not all of it, because I think this thing is in a long-term uptrend. And it's the same thing as Peloton and some of these others. You want to ride, you don't want to sell all of it. Sell them to the strength, buy back those shares, try to ride the waves as it goes higher, the higher lows and the higher highs that it could put in if it truly is in an uptrend. It surely looks like that from a technical perspective. I'm in this. I think it looks good. Again, so those of you guys that are in with me, I'm targeting $6 for my first significant lot share size selling, but holding probably more than half to look for a beyond $6 move, or the $6 move, beyond $6 price. So looking for maybe a measured move type of situation where you go in here from 250, so 4. If we extrapolate this up, maybe a move to around $8 a share. But again, it's going to take a while for that to happen, most likely. But Genesis has been a great trade, perfect, easy entry a couple weeks ago, and it's been a nice smooth move up here and looks higher. Now, window, this one's real thin, but like I said, these green candles like this, and it's oscillating, it's kind of forming this flag with higher lows. I like this, and as I said, anywhere in the mid 3s, the low 3s, you can add to the position. I'm already in this. I've been adding to the position on these little dips, looking for a higher price move. I think this thing goes higher. This massive green candle on volume is indicative to me that it's trying to go higher, and the fact that it's holding higher lows and kind of wedging, if you will, in this area, I think this thing goes higher. But remember, just like Genesis 2, Raptech does a little bit more volume. These are thin stocks. I strongly suggest you don't go buy. I mean, this thing did about 50,000 shares on Friday, so don't go buy 10,000 shares of this, even if you can afford it, because you could get trapped in this thing. Okay, so remember, think about the volume that's going on in the stock. You don't want to get to a point where you're over committing to a stock with the share size compared to the daily volume, because you can get trapped by the market makers. They can sniff you out. Okay, so be smart about that. Don't get greedy. I think this thing looks higher, but look to buy whatever makes sense for you from a share size perspective, and don't get trapped in this thing by buying too much. All right, new ideas. So golds, let's look at the gold stocks. GLD, the ETF first. GLD here flagging beautifully. You can buy it over about 185 with a stop under these lows about 178. GLD looks great. I'm going to step through these pretty quickly. Pause and rewind the video if you need to. GDX, another flag type situation here. Buys at around 42.50. The stop under about 38.50. So you can just look at the tops here, from here, buy above here, down here, or if you want to be more conservative, you can wait for it to go a little bit higher. But I think these things are going to run stock specific, Newmont, and I'm in all of everything I'm mentioning to you right now. The gold, I still have shares. I've sold into the strength. It's just kind of like the same approach as Peloton, selling into the strength, buying back shares. I bought all these golds. I bought in these golds on these last pullbacks in the last week. So I've been adding to my positions in these after selling off near these highs. Parts of my position. So adding, subtracting, then adding them back in. But Newmont here looking to add again to the position. If it breaks above this high from Friday, you got a flag type situation setting up here. AU, pretty smooth pullback on the weekly, a little bit jagged on the daily, but you can see the hold of this about 2750 area. Green bar, rising moving average, kissing on the candles. Looks like it wants to go higher. Maybe a buy around $31 a share with a stop around 26.50. Let's see what. Oh, AEM. This one's holding up really well. Look at the strength here compared to some of the others. Look how it's holding this flag. This one looks powerful. Buy around 83. Okay, 83, and then stop under these lows around 77. But look for this one to go higher. This thing looks like a leader, actually. And this one's one, out of all the ones I mentioned, this one I actually do not own yet. But I'm looking at it. But actually, I don't own AU anymore. But Newmont, GLD, GDX, Wheaton Precious Metals I hold and own. Looking to buy this one again, add to it over about $55 a share. Stop under these lows at 48 for this new position, but a flag form. So all these are setting up in a very constructive manner, these golds and silvers, and I think they look higher, especially in light of the announcements going on. But really what it comes down to is not so much the announcements. To me, it's the charts showing me that these things look like they have more upside to them, even though they've run quite a bit already. Okay, those of you guys that follow me on Twitter, I tweeted this out as a swing long on Friday, and I bought this. I bought into it. I bought a half position at $14.55 a share right here on Friday. And you can see here on the daily chart, it's pulled up, it's come down, and pretty much set in a kind of a handle, if you will, off a cup and handle type of situation. Here you can see it a little bit more clearly on the weekly. It's a little wide and whippy, but I like the bottoming tail action here from this last week's trading. And I'm looking, if it breaks over 15, I'll add that other half a position on my swing and have a full position on this swing wise. So you're seeing the moving average come up to kiss it. It's a beautiful setup. You got a big green candle leading the way off this big move up. This one to me is looking mint. And again, like I said, I already got a half position, looking to add to my position if it gets above 15. If it drops below 14, I'll sell out my half position and look to buy it if it finds support here at 13 or if it reverses. Commissions are real cheap, almost nothing in a lot of cases. So get in and get out. Don't be afraid to trade, man. Get in, get out, get your stops, get out, reassess. This thing could collapse and go to zero. Okay, but right now this thing looks higher to me, and I love it. But because the weekly didn't confirm on Friday, I only bought a half a position at this break above this candle here on the daily chart, and looking to add another half once I get confirmation of break over about $15.05 a share. So watch fold. Digital Realty, again, this is real sloppy here on the weekly, but you can see it's kind of forming a pretty clean flag off this previous move to this new high. You can see it here off this tail. It's come back, red bar, tried to go lower, bottoming tailed out below this red bar, tried to go lower, bottoming tail, tried to go lower on Friday, bottoming tail. I like what I'm seeing, okay? About 156.50, 156, break above there, I'm buying a position. My stop will be right under the 150 mark. So there's your entry and your stop, and you're looking for a break past these highs. Continue this uptrend. Was real sloppy here, obviously, in the early COVID stages, but overall has been holding here pretty well in general and moving higher. I like this Digital Realty as a swing long at those prices mentioned. Another simple concept here, KTOS. This one I used to own back in the day, probably a year or two ago. Was a good winner for me, and right now I'm flat on this thing, but it came up in my scans today. Green candle, big green candles here on the daily chart, you'll see it. Big green candle here on the weekly chart, and then up basically a flag. I mean, you can see it's a cup with a handle. Sloppy handle, nonetheless, but you see volume dropping off here as it bases. I'm looking for a break above this high, around $21 a share, $20.50 actually, the top of this tail. Buy it in there, stop underneath the lows. You can pick this candle here, the 1850 range area as a stop, and look for a move higher. KTOS though, on my list for a watch as a swing long. All right, last thing I want to do here is run through the transportation sector, airlines, cruise lines, and stuff. As mentioned, I've been bearish on these, but now I'm changing my mind on these. Now I don't own any of these right now, but they look like they're trying to form a bottom. It's actually telling of what the market is anticipating is going to happen in the future with regards to the COVID and the restrictions. I think things are going to get eased, whether it's a vaccine, whatever the situation is. The market's telling me that the pain is looking like it's going to be less coming up here in the future as these things are looking to bottom. You've got American Airlines here. It's getting a higher low. You're seeing it kind of set up here. This weekly chart, you see the volume picking up here on these green candles. It looks like it wants to go higher and maybe retest this spike higher it had back in the earlier part of this summer. Okay, so AAL, you look at DAL, same thing, a little bit stronger on the green candle there. This looks a lot more higher on the daily, like it's trying to go. But again, I'm not buying this on Monday. It's too extended. See how many days up here? I don't want to buy it at 32, but I just want to put these on your radar as they are on my radar to look to try to buy these. Maybe if it settles in this area, bases for a few days or pulls back to 30, I'd buy Delta. United Airlines, similar. Same thing, move over 40. You can see it's not quite as strong as Delta. Out of those three, you can see clearly, look at the daily chart, DAL versus UAL versus AAL. Which one's the strongest of the three? Right? DAL. Which one's the weakest? This one, AAL. Let's look at Love. Love's strong. Love is strong like UAL. Okay? I'm sorry, DAL. Love and DAL look the strongest of the two from recent action. What about Alaska Airlines? Also strong. Okay, so those are your stronger ones, and those are probably the ones you want to. If you're going to if you just have money to buy into one of these things, I would look at to buy in one of these stronger ones. Alaska, Delta, Southwest look like the three strongest to me right now on the weekly and daily chart with the recent move. But again, I'm not buying these Monday because they're up too many days at this point. And then I could buy one of the weaker ones, but then you're buying the weaker horse in the race, in my opinion. You don't want to do that. Be patient. Keep these on radar. CCL, cruise lines, are also looking like they want to bump, right? Here, we're trying to go higher on the CCL. Again, 3 days up. I'm not buying this here, but I'm putting it on watch. I'm changing. My sentiment in these is changing. I think these are going to go higher now, but not enough to where I want to buy them, especially chase them at this point. I'm not that convinced. RCL is another one worth watching. You can see Expedia has been really moving. Look at Expedia here. Off this move here to a new recent high. I broke this pivot here on the weekly chart, but this thing's been aggressive. Yeah, a lot of it could be short covering. People are so short on these names because of what's transpired in the world, and they're getting crushed on the short side. That could be what's happening here. But the bottom line is that I think that the winds of change are here on these things. I think they got potential higher moves over the next 6 to 12 months. But do not chase it. Come on, guys. Let's not chase these things. Okay? Let them set up for you. And if they go without, if they continue to go like a lot of things, then so be it. I'm fine with that. There's plenty of other really tasty ideas that I've shared here that you can jump into. Okay, so there's no need to chase anything. But these all look higher to me. Let me see. What was the one other thing I want to look at here? Oh yeah, Uber and Lyft. So not really the same group, but in a sense the same. This is constructive, people. Uber, after all the news and crap, and then the earnings and higher low on the weekly, right? Higher low here. Aggressive move. Now again, would I pay 34 for this tomorrow? Hell no. It's gone up too far, man. Let it go up to 35 and base, and then I'll buy it at 35.50. Okay, but I need a setup. I can't just chase it like this. I'm not that sold on these things, but these things look damn stronger. Uber and Lyft. Put these on your long to watch list. Now this Lyft actually is a little bit more buyable. You can see on the weekly chart, you could buy this at 31 with a stop under the low of that candle at 25. It's a pretty $6 stop-ish, right? But that's a hell of a reversal day, people. That is strength. Now, is it a given that this thing's going to go higher? No, but I like what I'm seeing here. It's relatively weak to Uber, okay? But it is nonetheless looking good. And actually, now that I'm kind of talking to you guys, I might nibble into this. Definitely not a full position. I might buy a quarter position on a break above 31 mañana, or I will just kind of see what happens here and watch. But this thing looks like it wants to go higher. You got a kind of a rejection of this attempt to move lower under 25. You got a hard stop under 25. This thing looks higher. It looks like it could run, give you kind of like this W bottom, higher low, and try to run back up to this previous $50 mark. So put Lyft on your list. And actually, I think you convinced me, guys. I think I might buy a little piece of this on Monday if it breaks over 31. So keep an eye on this one. All the rest of those, again, tasty ideas, man. It's been a great market. Stay with it. Follow your plan. Use your stops. Take your targets. Same thing. Sell into the flows, partial positions. Buy it when it ebbs back, and just trade well. Stick to your plan. All right, guys. Have a great week trading. I'll hit you up in a couple weeks. Probably next weekend's a Labor Day weekend, so I'll probably take next weekend off from doing a video. But the weekend after that, obviously, you can always hit me up on Twitter or email me, tom@tomwillardtrade.com. Have a good one.